1,000-1 outsiders at the beginning of the season, I have to hold my hands up and say I think this team has done very well to finish where it has, and it will be very interesting to see what the pundits make of it in the end of season review. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to The Road to Glory, Part 84, Season 9, here at Preston. And despite all my moans and groans as this season has developed, we are still at the end of the season in 13th place, and we have our final game to play today against Aston Villa, and if we win that game and Brighton lose their final fixture, we could leapfrog Brighton and even finish in 12th, and that would be outstanding, being as we were 1,000-1 to win the title at the beginning of the season and red hot favourites to finish in bottom place. What a tremendous feat that will be for these players, and I have to hold my hands up and say maybe I was wrong, maybe I've been too hard on these players. Just maybe my expectations were too high in our first season in the Premier League. Today we will be playing our final game away at Aston Villa and trying out what might be a new tactic for the new season, and we will also be hopefully finding out what the budgets are for the coming transfer window, and we'll be doing a season review and finding out what the pundits make of what has happened this season, and it is then I'll know, have I been too hard on this team. But before we get into all that, if you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing this game, then you're in the right place. So why not subscribe, like, watch and comment, help the channel to grow, help us to support the very, very good cause that you can see scrolling up above. And while we're on that subject, many thanks to Andrew, who has made another contribution to the Just Giving page, and I will leave a link to that Just Giving page in the description below. And if you are of a mind to contribute something, and it doesn't have to be a lot, it could be just £1 or £2, every little will help, and together we can make a difference. So many thanks to Andrew. I think that's possibly his second or his third donation now. I am extremely grateful. So let's have a look at what's happened on the pitch since you were last with us. And when you were last with us, you saw us have that 0-0 draw away at Brentford, and things really got bad after that. We were beaten 2-0 away by Leicester, and then Manchester City at home, we also suffered a very heavy defeat by 3-0, and that was followed up by a 3-1 defeat away at Chelsea, but we have just recently bounced back and beaten Wolves by 2-1, and that sets us up in this position where we could possibly finish 12th. We need to play Aston Villa away, and if we win that and Brighton lose, then we could possibly finish in 12th, and that will be quite an outstanding achievement. We do still have 1 or 2 injuries to deal with, and we have Adam Eder out. He has currently got a twisted ankle. He's been out for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and Hugo Bueno, of course, he's still not fit. And I am considering selling both of those players in the summer transfer window. Adam Eder has not done anything anywhere near what I expected him to deliver. He has not performed very well. He has picked up a couple of injuries that's kept him out for a lot of games throughout the season, and I'm wondering, is Grant a better player, and do I invest more time and effort in developing young Grant and let Adam Eder go? Adam Eder could bring in a lot of money. His transfer value is between 23 and 25 million pounds, and depending on the budgets that we get, it might be important to recoup some money and to try and invest that money in other areas of the pitch. We definitely need to strengthen in the summer in defence, and maybe that money could be better used strengthening at centre back and at left back. One of the things that has puzzled me as we have gone through this season is that we are extremely good passers of the ball. And if we take a look at the data hub in terms of our last 5 matches, then we might get a few clues as to what's going on. And we have regained possession a lot in central areas inside of our final third of the pitch, and a lot inside our penalty area. But if we look at where we have conceded goals from, 4 of the last 8 goals in the last 5 games have been scored from positions close to the penalty spot. And it may well be a good idea to actually apply that instruction to the team to play with a low block. So we will do that. But there are other things that are actually worrying me. Touches to goals ratio. We've been very disappointing converting touches within the penalty area. And I'm wondering, should we apply shoot on sight? And maybe if we just take off work ball into the box, that might be a better idea rather than getting the players to shoot on sight, because I am a bit concerned that players might start taking pot shots from outside the area. We are good finishers, and maybe just taking off work ball into the box might be a good idea. Touches in the opposition penalty area, and this is one that puzzles me. We are not nearly getting enough touches in the penalty area, and that could be something to do with work the ball into the box. We are being a little bit too elaborate, and it's being suggested we should try more direct passing. I'm not so sure about that myself. Maybe we should just up it a little bit, a tad, and increase the tempo at which we're playing, and that might help getting the ball out of our feet quicker and not dilly-dallying around the penalty area so much and trying to get the perfect opportunity, just taking a shot as and when we can. So upping the tempo might be a better idea. And also that I'm being told that Charteris, who is the right back, is losing possession more than any other player, and if he is taking far too many risks, then maybe it is time to tell him to take fewer risks. Pass it shorter, possibly as well. We'll try that and see if that works out. It's these 2 instructions I'm not so sure of. I don't want to add shoot on sight, and I don't want to add more direct passing. But I think if we take a look at the tactic for this game, then you can see we have switched it up a little bit. We're going to go with this diamond shape, and Charteris now should have on his instructions pass it shorter and take fewer risks. And what I think would be a good idea to do would be to just take off work ball into box. I'm not going to go shoot on sight, because that will just encourage them to shoot from anywhere. But by telling them to be less patient, it might help us in terms of how quickly we take shots on. I have got underlap on both sides switched on, and that's because crossing wise I want us to get nearer to the edge of the penalty area when crossing, rather than crossing from far out and hoping that our attackers can get on the end of it. So the nearer we are to goal when we are crossing the ball, the more chance we have of connecting with it. And I've raised the tempo to slightly higher. Should I go higher tempo? I'm not sure. I think we'll just leave it at slightly higher at the moment, and if we're not creating enough chances, then possibly we can raise the tempo as the game goes on. So we have tweaked the system a little bit. They're not that familiar with it, although they are not bad at playing in this system. And so, yeah, it is an experiment in this game, and so I'm not expecting to win this game. There's nothing really riding on it. If we can win it, we could go into 12th. But we want to try it out, because what we've been doing has not been working. And I think now, with so much to get through, I think it is time now to go and play the game against Aston Villa. Let's go and kick some balls. And so the team for today in the final game of the season against Aston Villa is Alton in goal, with Charteris, Altair, Stoiker and Becker at the back. Gourlay, McCann, Bellingham and Simpson will play in midfield, with Ferguson and Grant playing up top. And we are still without Adam Eder, and so Grant has an opportunity here to make a name for himself, and I'm still unsure what to do about Adam Eder. and we really just need to focus on trying to get a win here. They are not familiar with this, and hopefully, though, they will take to the new tactic, and we can create some difficulties for Villa as we go into this game. So the game has begun, and it is the final game of our first season, and we are in 13th place. I couldn't have expected that. And Aston Villa having the first highlight, it is a corner caught by Alton. Alton finds Altair. Altair finds Charteris. Now Charteris is being told not to take too many risks and pass it shorter, and he does just that. And here's McCann. McCann looking for Goulet. Goulet finds Simpson. Simpson looking for Goulet. Goulet at the base of midfield, playing as a defensive midfielder, looking just to provide some stability in front of the two centre-backs. It finds its way to Becker. Becker has fired in a cross, and Ferguson has put us ahead. It's Aston Villa 0, Preston 1. What a lovely attack. Some nice swift passing, and maybe the idea to not dilly-dally, but to just get the ball inside. And there is that underlap, and Ferguson has found the corner with his header, and there was no messing about there. We just put the ball into the box, got our opportunity away as fast as possible, and will be interesting to keep an eye on the Brighton result. It looks like Brighton are actually winning at the moment, and they are beating Bournemouth. Yeah, I think they're playing Bournemouth, and they are beating Bournemouth at the moment. So we cannot go to 12th unless we actually get Bournemouth to do us a favour, but we won't worry too much about that. We are ahead, and we need to be defensively solid, and we are defending well. That was a good block. It's headed out, but we need to close him down on the edge of the area. They're quite pacey, and they have equalised. And what I think that I'm going to have to do, it's an own goal by Becker. What I think that I'm going to have to do is, with both fullbacks, I actually need them to trigger press less. Both of these wingers are extremely dangerous, and I think, yeah, I need to get them. I don't want our players charging at them, and it probably would be a good idea to trigger press less, just to make sure that we're not just providing them with space, allowing them to dribble past us. And it's unfortunate, Becker, who is on a rating of 7, has scored the own goal as well as providing the assist. And we're actually winning this game quite comfortably. Aston Villa have hardly been in the game, and this is really the story of the season. We're dominating possession. We are dominating the chances created. Aston Villa still have not had a shot on goal, and yet they have pulled it back to 1-1. We've had all the chances, and we're not taking them. And that's the story, really, of the season. And I wonder how to sort that out. And here comes Charteris bombing down. And there's a chance, and it has gone in. And Ewan Simpson has made it 2-1. It's Aston Villa 1, Preston 2. And we are full deservedly in front and getting the ball into the box a lot quicker. We seem to be offloading the ball, especially down the flanks, a lot quicker. Charteris playing in an attack role. He just got it into the box as fast as he could, and that seems to be paying off a little bit rather than dilly-dallying as we have been doing previously. Brighton are still leading by 1-0, and it has now gone to 1-1. It's Brighton 1, Bournemouth 1, and if Bournemouth can go and win that game in that South Coast derby, then it would leave us open to finishing in 12th. And who'd have thought that? And here's Goulet. We are playing very, very well. And that's a lovely ball into space. And Simpson's through again. And Simpson's made it 3-1. We are playing with this new style tactic absolutely beautifully. And we really are putting Aston Villa away. We've had 8 shots to their 1. We've had 3 on target only, and we've scored 3 times. That was a lovely ball, And I think both fullbacks are playing really well. And Charteris has had a brilliant game so far. He's had 2 assists, I think. And we are leading Aston Villa by 3-1. Now, all we need is for Bournemouth to take the lead at Brighton. And then everything will look good. And Gorley's having a very good game at the base of midfield. We are carving Aston Villa apart. And Grant is in space. It's bobbling about. It comes out to Charteris. Charteris is in the penalty area. And the goalkeeper manages to hold on to it. I think Charteris got himself a little bit greedy there and would have been better off playing that ball into the penalty area, into the 6-yard box, and we would have scored for sure. But at the moment, it's still Aston Villa 1, Preston 3 as we come up to half-time. This is absolutely fabulous, and I'm very, very pleased with what they're doing. But I'm going to say it's important to stay focused. And Ferguson's not too happy. He's very anxious about that. So we'll tell them, keep going. You have the ability. Keep going. You have the ability. And you can still improve. Ewan Simpson is a little confused by what's been going on. But I don't mind. As long as he's focused in the second half, then we won't have any problems. I don't want to close down these wingers. That doesn't make any sense at all with the pace that they have. And Aston Villa do have a free kick. It's about 30 yards out, and it has hit over the crossbar. A bit speculative from that range. Aston Villa are coming back into the game at the moment. We need to keep an eye on that. And they have now had 3 shots very early on in the second half, and we need to make sure that we're solid at the back. And it might be a good idea to go to a more cautious mentality, because they are coming forward. They do have a chance, and I am going to go to a cautious mentality now and make sure that we're solid at the back. And the ball comes out to Becker. Becker looking to advance the ball. Aston Villa are trying to get further forward. They are looking a lot more dangerous in the second half, and I need to work out what they actually have done to change this. Ball into the box. Is that a penalty? Is the referee giving a penalty? No, it was good defending. And just keep your heads, boys. Don't do anything silly, and Aston Villa have got to go back. And it is now. Aston Villa 2, Preston 3. Is it all about to go wrong? And we need to work out what Aston Villa are doing that is so different. Both our fullbacks are playing really well, so I'm not sure where the threat is coming from. Everybody is playing really well apart from Grant. But at the moment, we're still ahead. And we still need to brighten our 3-1 up against Bournemouth. I think it's time to make some changes. And so we have made a couple of changes, and I'm just going to check who the dangers are. McIntosh seems to be a bit of a problem. Let's go and take care of McIntosh. And so we have asked our fullback to take care of McIntosh, and hopefully he will be able to do just that. Becker is getting very tired. He needs to be coming off. We still don't have a left back. Azevedo actually is fit now, so we'll bring on Azevedo. There's just 5 minutes to go. Are we going to finish the season with a victory? If we can just hold on now, with a couple of minutes to go. We don't want any more highlights, FM. This will do very nicely for a final performance. There's just a minute to go. And we have beaten Aston Villa. It is Aston Villa 2, Preston 3, and I'm very, very pleased with how they have performed today. Everybody thought we would lose, but we've proved them wrong, and they've done very, very well today. And we have finished, though, in 13th place. Unfortunately, Brighton managed to beat Bournemouth by 4-2. But it's been a very, very good season, and Aston Villa would have finished above us had Brighton lost, but we would have finished in 12th. But not to worry, we have done extremely well, and we have finished in 13th place in our first season in the Premier League. And Simpson was absolutely outstanding in the first half, and deserves to be told that he was absolutely outstanding. And so the season has come to an end, and Liverpool have been crowned champions and Newcastle finish in second, Manchester City in third. But from our point of view, we were red hot favourites to finish in 20th place. We finished in 13th, and I don't know if that counts as being a mid-table finish. Could well be, possibly not, but it looks good to finish in 13th. I may have been a lot too hard in terms of how the players have performed this year, and we have been given 15.45 million for finishing in 13th place. And in terms of the finances, what that means is that we now have 34 million in the bank. How much of this I'm going to get in the transfer budget, I'm not sure. We have already made one signing, and we have brought in Mauro Gennari, who is a central defender. He's not the greatest central defender in the world, but he does have 4-star potential. He's 23 years old. He's come in as a squad player, and I hope that he will develop some of these very interesting attributes that he already possesses. And he does have pace, and he has got good physicals. He's got some good mentals. He's very brave, has good anticipation. His concentration is not bad, as well as composure, and he has good decisions, a good positioning sense. He does have some very good attributes, but he is only 6 foot tall. So he will be a squad player, and he is the first signing that we have made for this coming season. I think now we should take a look at the season review and find out what the board, the fans and the pundits have made of our first season. But just before we do go to the season review, we have had news that the board have set the initial budgets, and the initial wage budget for the coming season has been set at 925,000, and we have been given £49.42 million to spend. And also we may be making a lot of money from sales at the end of the season, so we might be having a bumper transfer window, and we might be spending a lot of money. 49.42. I was not expecting that much in terms of transfer budget. Okay, with that great news, let's go and have a look at the season review. And so it will be quite interesting to see what the board, the fans and the pundits have made of what has been going on. But first, let's have a look at the new arrivals, and nobody has performed particularly well. The best of them being Di Benedetto, but he's only actually made 10 appearances, and so his 6.99 is a little skewed. Ewan Ferguson, for me, was probably the best signing, coming in from Celtic for 13.75 million. He's got a 6.97, and Adam Eder, costing us £24.5 million. He's only ended up with a 6.91. I'm really not sure what to do with Adam Eder. He's 30 years old now, and maybe it's time to cash in on this value that he has. Other players, Newman didn't perform very well, coming in as an experienced centre-back and right-back, didn't perform particularly well. Neither did Altar, who also is a very experienced centre-back. He didn't have the greatest of seasons. Stoiker was somebody that I really was wanting to make a difference here. He didn't have a great season, but the board are very, very happy with his signing. It's been that kind of season, nobody playing particularly well, nothing to write home about in terms of transfers in. We need to do a better job in the transfer window this season. Some of these players will stay and some won't. And the board are very pleased, of course, that we managed to finish in 13th position, and they would class that as mid-table, so that is an outstanding performance. We have 47 points from our 38 games. It doesn't look pretty as we work our way through the season. It looks really poor, and I did get frustrated a lot as the season went on. But overall, we've done particularly well, and we did manage to win 12 games of our 38 and draw 11. We only lost 15, and that has got to be a very, very good performance. In terms of the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the 4th round by Everton quite comfortably by 2-0. I wasn't really bothered about the cup competitions, and we were knocked out again in the 4th round by Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. And so it was a poor campaign in both of the cup competitions, but it was the Premier League that was our focus. We needed to avoid relegation, and that's where all our thought went, and we did better than that, finishing in mid-table. In terms of the moments to remember, we had a very nice 4-0 victory over Blackburn, which, as you recall, was the first game of the season, and Adam Eder got his only hat-trick of the season in that game. And then the match to remember was the 3-0 victory that we had over Chelsea, and I was absolutely stunned when that happened. And the goal of the season was scored by Bellingham, and I wonder if we can see that goal. And it was a good goal. I'm not sure that it was the goal of the season. I'm never quite sure that the fans' goal of the season matches mine. I think there were better goals that we scored. And in terms of finances, we remained the same in terms of our reputation. We are still 3.5 stars, but we've done very, very well. And next season, if we continue with this progress, we may jump up to a 4-star. Everything's in the green, apart from match day commercial and retail, not my problem. But we've done well in terms of all the other financial aspects in the club. And in terms of merchandise, we raised 1.46 million. There were 13,000 something shirts sold. Ferguson was the top shirt seller, with Eder, McCann, Bellingham and Surridge making up the top 5. And in terms of the team, that our best team, only Matthew Cox really had a decent season. And Simpson, McCann, Bellingham, can't really argue with that. Bellingham, though, had a very poor season, only getting a 6.74. He remains a hope for this club. He's going to have a better season next season. Ferguson, for me, was the star performer this season. And in terms of the accolades, not really much for myself. Ferguson was the fans' player of the season. Ewan Simpson, the young player of the season. Alton, the signing of the season in goal, and then Job Bellingham scoring the goal of the season. I'm not quite sure that should be the goal of the season. Adam Eder scored the most goals, but only 10. Ewan Simpson having the most assists with 7. Most player of the match awards, interestingly, Carl Grant, and he is a prospect for the future. Evan Ferguson was the highest average rating with 7. Kofi Balmer making the most passes completed per 90 minutes. And in terms of record breakers, nothing much to report, except that the highest transfer fee Preston have received ever was received for Matthew Cox, the former goalkeeper. He was sold for £18.05 million. And history in the making. What do the pundits have to say? And it was a season of hard work. And it was a fantastic start to the season. If you remember, we had got 9 points from our first 15 points. We owe it to that. And we got off to a good start. And once we'd got enough points on the board, once we got to 20 points, we didn't look back. It was a hard-working season, and we've done well. And we need to be recognising the team now for the efforts that they have done. It's been a very, very good season. And so we have come to the end of our first season in the Premier League. We have a lot of money to spend now, a lot of wage budget to play with, and so we're looking forward to the transfer window and seeing what a mess we can make of that this time. Let's hope we can get it right this season. We need to strengthen at the back for sure, and possibly we need a new striker. And so that's it for this video for this season. If you are new to the channel, why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow and help us to support the very good stuff that you can see scrolling above. Despite all my moans and groans this season, I finished the season as a very happy manager, as you would. 1,000 to 1 favourites to be relegated, to finish bottom, and we have finished in 13th place. We have only lost 15 games out of 38. I think we've done extremely well. All that remains to be said now is we'll see you in the next episode when we'll be looking at what's happened in the transfer window and beginning the brand new season. We will see you soon.